So, Deacon, with every interview we start with, we ask this simple question. If you could sum your career up in one word with everything you've done so far, how would you describe it?
Fast tracked. I I only started June 2024, and so I in the space that I have been doing it, I think I've achieved quite a bit up to now. But it was fast. I knew the right people. I knew the right trainers. So it kind of and I've been a wrestling fan since I was like 4 years old. So I used to do it in the back garden with my friends. So I had kind of an idea that it was going to hurt. So I kind of fast tracked myself.
Okay. Deacon, we're obviously on Sunday, mate. We finally obviously got this interview obviously in the pipeline. How's things, man? You all right?
Oh, all good, mate. I've had a good weekend with the kids. Just literally got in from the park just 2 minutes ago. But yeah, it's been dad life, wrestling life. You have to balance it all together. But it's been a really good weekend. How have you been?
Yeah, not too bad. Like I said, mate, obviously work all the week. Obviously, my mum's birthday yesterday, so we're just obviously planning for this interview. How do you juggle everything? I've got to ask.
Pardon?
I said, how do you juggle everything? I've got to ask.
Oh, well, a very understanding wife. So she's very she understands. Obviously, I've got a passion this started off as a bit of a hobby to do for my kids in front of my kids, and then I had one seminar with August Artois from America, and I was like, that's it. So I kind of like rocketed from there. So you have to have an understanding with your partner. If you don't, they're going to get extremely upset with you. But I balance it, I think, best by having everybody involved. Like, I don't keep them separate. Like, if I'm gonna wrestle, I bring my family along with me. If I'm doing something like that's family orientated, I'll always ask friends from wrestling if they want to join in, stuff like that. So I think you need to find that balance if you're gonna juggle all these different things at once. Luckily, my actual job, I'm a football coach 5 days a week. So I only work 3.5 hours every late afternoon on a full time wage, obviously, but or I wouldn't do it. But I have the day to myself. So I get to like fit the gym in there because obviously wrestling, you need to go to the gym. I get to see my kids because my youngest two aren't at school yet. So I get to see them often. I can do school runs and then I work at night. I think if I had a proper job, it'd be a lot harder.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned obviously August there. I mean, I've had him on the show. What's he like? Because he was bonkers when he were on my show.
Oh, I tell you what, he's just a mixture of a gentleman, but really like crazy off the rails, but in a good way. Like his seminar was unreal. Like he basically started off by listing this is what you need to do. Like, to obviously the guy's been on NXT, he's traveling the world, he's sponsored, he does it as a full-time job. And he was like, this is what you need to do. You need to obviously find your persona, find your character, proper ring gear because people don't want to see you going out in shorts and stuff. Your own music so no one can copyright it or you can get copyrighted and stuff like that. So literally, I left his seminar. I was like, I'm ready to take this serious now. And I literally, the way he has with words is unreal. But he's such a nice guy. Like even since the seminar, he keeps in touch with me. All my merchandise now is available on Unbelievable Vision, unforgettablevision.com, which is the website that August's merchandise is sold from. So he put me on to his guy, and then I'm a part of the roster, like in terms of merchandise. So he helped me with my merchandise to get an established company to create it. So literally, it's all on their website now, so I don't have to make anything. I just literally get a payment at the end of the month for any merch that's sold. But he put me onto that. He's very blunt as well, though. So if if there's a training video and something sucks, he'll tell you it sucks. I think I did. We was doing sequences a couple of weeks ago, and it was like putting three sequences together, but the main aim was to remember them. So it wasn't really intense. I put that on and he messaged me and I was like, that lockup sucked. I was like, I'm sorry. We was doing sequences. I'm sorry. But you need someone like that. You need like someone in the background who's gonna tell you, right, you need to do this better, you need to do this better. So he's very direct, but he's very funny and he's proper gentleman.
What was the biggest thing he taught you?
You need to look the part. You need to look the part. And you know what? I only kind of clocked on to that because obviously I was doing it as a bit of. I got into it because I wanted to do it in front of my kids. I wanted my kids to see me wrestle. And then once I kind of took it a bit more serious, I was like, I don't really look the part here. I look like I'm training, but I'm in a match. So probably go because since I got my ring gear, I'm more noticeable. It's kind of my own look. My logo is now noticeable because it's like plastered on the side of my on the front of my top. So I think one of the biggest things he taught me was you need to look the part, and that goes crowd work as well. You need to have your persona, the way you talk, like it needs to be completely separate to what other people are doing because you can get fantastic wrestlers, but there's a lot of just fantastic wrestlers. That's why I'm not very into AEW because the wrestling's fantastic, but I like the WWE because it's all character work, which I watch often to try and get some ideas from. But definitely looking the part and acting the part is something he taught me that's very important.
Okay. Now it says obviously on your Instagram, Rascals Pro Wrestling. Is that where you train?
That is where I train, yeah, Rascals Pro Wrestling Academy in Blackpool. It's above the Revo Library, so it's like a gymnasium. It was used for judo, but it's now the Rascals Wrestling Academy. We were across the other side of Blackpool in a smaller unit, but I kind of came in at the point where it was getting bigger and more popular, so we moved to a new building. But yeah, I train at the Rascals Wrestling Academy under Rossy Rascal.
And what was that first training session like? I've got to ask.
Oh, what I remember most about that day is that I woke up in the morning because training it started at 9 originally when I first started, and I live in Bolton, so I'm 45 minutes away from Blackpool, so I had to get up really early. And at the time, I was kind of going through a few things like mental health wise. I wasn't in the best place, and I woke up in the morning. I was like, should I go? Should I not go? And out of all the people that said they was coming that day, I was only one of two that actually showed up. You know, like the new recruit kind of thing. And I remember walking through, and people were like practicing and training, and I was like excited but so nervous at the same time because I had taken a bump because I used to do Thai boxing. So when we used to dabble in takedowns and stuff. So they kind of, when you was training and having to do seminars in Thai boxing, you kind of had to land a certain way where you slap your hand on the floor anyway. So I knew somewhat what I was going to get into, but after that first bump, it hurt. But I was like, yes, like let's go. I'm ready for this. So it was a massive mixture of nerves, but excitement at the same time.
Awesome. So one of the things obviously which sticks out for me with yourself is character. Talk about putting the character together and how it all came about.
So at the beginning, I had no idea what I was going to call myself, what direction I was going to go in. And the first thing I had was the name. I don't know if you've ever seen Blade, but there was I think it was the first movie, or it might be the second movie, where it's Deacon Frost, and he's like this like mega villainous vampire. And I was like, I like that name, but obviously I can't. So I was like, all right, Deacon Cross. So then I had the name. So I had the name before I had the actual gimmick to go with the name. And I was toying around with a few things like the real boss, Deacon Cross, and stuff like that, just trying to find something I could work with. And at the time, I was just breaking into BTW and the Bolton Club, which gave me my first real opportunity on a pro show. And I went to a gentleman's barbecue in Bolton with Matt Williams and AJ Grimm. And Gareth Angel was there from is it Kingdom Wrestling in Bradford, and obviously he follows the word of God and stuff, but he translates it into his character. It goes hand in hand. And we was just sat chatting, and he was like, "You do know a deacon is a priest before a priest?" I was like, "Oh right, no, I didn't know that." And he was like, "Your last name's Cross." He was like, "Deacon Cross, you could work with that kind of gimmick." And I was like, you know what, that's a shout. So we sat there at a gentleman's barbecue at a church with Gareth Angel, and it kind of spawned from there. But then obviously getting deeper into the character, I always remember from when I was growing up. It's weird because he only lasted about 2 months before they rebranded him. But a wrestler that really stuck in my mind was Mordecai. So for them who don't know, that's Kevin Thorne before he was Kevin Thorne. And he was in all white, came out in a white robe, came out with a big scythe and the hood up. And he kind of like told everyone they were sinners and the judgment was coming and stuff like that. And I was like, I really enjoyed that character. And then I need to build on my character. So I kind of merged together what Gareth Angel said and the Mordecai character. And I kind of slowly pushed them together. So I go inside like the direction of talking about, I don't I don't actually use the words God, religion, heaven, just to avoid upsetting anyone who obviously might be offended, because that's what they follow, and I don't want them to feel like I'm because I don't follow stuff like that in real life. So I use words like paradise instead of heaven, the Almighty instead of God, and I call it the Book of Cross instead of the Bible. So I kind of dive into that, and it just snowballed from there. And I was like, right, what can I do next? Right, I'm going to do my promos like this. What can I talk about? Right, I'm going to talk about sinners and temptation and lust and greed, because there's so much like content you can work off when you're talking about things like this. So it kind of just snowballed into that, and then I went and got a big robe. I wear a cross. I'm just waiting for someone to make me a big scythe, and it's just carried on going and going in. And as it's getting, I'm getting more creative with it. Creative with it. Hopefully, I can maybe link up with Gareth Angel at some point and do some promos in the church, the wrestling church that he has. I'd love to have a little program with him because he's the one who kickstarted it off. So at the moment, I'm in. I think I've got to a point where I've got my character to the point that I want it to be at. Now it's just about adding the little bits. Like I think my not my last show, the one before, I got the new robe, the new hood, the new cross. So I'm building on it every time, and then at some point I'll have the big scythe. But yeah, I got my own music, which is a remake of "He's Got the Whole World in His Hands." That was a bit of a shout out to Bray Wyatt. But yeah, that's where it came from and how it snowballed and where it's heading. I don't know. We'll just keep building.
Absolutely. Watching your character, though, for me, I mean, I'm just getting like heel vibes straight away. Is it one of those where it can go face or heel?
Funnily enough, in Bolton, which is my hometown, I'm actually a face, but my Deacon Cross character is toned right down, to the point where you probably wouldn't really see the characteristics that you'd see like when I'm a heel, because I'm a member of the Bolton Club in Bolton, which kind of instantly gives me popularity every time I come out in Bolton. Um, I think at the last show I sold about 35 tickets. There was like 250 people there, and I managed to get a win in front of the home crowd with Joey Hayes by my side. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So if I tone it right down and leave out the bits about everyone being a sinner and giving into temptation and they're all going to get punished, then I could pull it off as a face. But I like being a heel. I think it's easier to make people hate you than it is to make them love you. I just have the positive side of being from Bolton. So when I'm on Bolton shows, there's a lot of people I know who's going to cheer me either way.
Absolutely. So you mentioned obviously BTW there. Tell us a little bit about obviously the promotion, because I've seen some of their stuff and it's really good.
Oh, I love BTW. It's one of the first indie shows I actually took my kids to. Because originally I was just a wrestling fan. I dabbled in indie shows, like going watching them back in before my kids were born, which was like 10 years ago. And then I put it off and put it off. And then my son got into wrestling and he was watching it on TV. We went to like the big like your WWE shows in Manchester. And then I saw BTW pop up on my Facebook and it said like family friendly, indie wrestling. I was like, you know what, I'll take my son to this. And he absolutely loved it. Like I was getting in there as much as he was. I was shouting and chanting. and it was just such a family feel within the actual community that was there. And then what kick-started my wrestling career off was seeing my son and how he reacted to the wrestlers. I was like, I want him to look at me like that. And a funny story, actually, the way I got into it is AJ Grimm, um,
Mhm.
who is part of the Bolton Club. I saw him, he was on that first show. And at one of my football sessions the night after, he was sat down in the corner because I was teaching his son, which was a mad coincidence. So I just shuffled over and I was like, "Are you AJ Grimm?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, you! I saw you." He was like, "I've never been recognised outside of like the wrestling community." I was like, "Yeah, I saw you." And for 6 months straight, he was like, come training, come training, come training." And obviously, I finally gave in. But the actual backstage, when I got to perform there, just the same, really nice family feel. Everyone's very welcoming. Everyone knew I was fresh to it, giving me pointers. People like Nitschke was giving me advice on little spots. Alex Boylan was giving me advice on spots. I got feedback from Jack Johnson and Joey Hayes. So it's such a nice family feel, not only when you're in the audience, when you're a fan, but also when you're in the back and the other wrestlers who have miles more experience than you do. They'll give you advice. They'll tell you what's good, what's bad, what you need to improve on, what you did really well. So it's going watching BTW and being a part of BTW's roster is just hand in hand. It's just a family feel, very positive, very supportive.
Absolutely. So you mentioned obviously advice there. What's the biggest piece of advice you've been given which sticks with you?
Character work, because the nowadays kayfabe is near enough gone. Like
Mhm.
you've got WWE Unreal on Netflix that just completely pulls it all back, and it's you don't really have many characters that stick to a kind of gimmick and a supernatural gimmick anyway, and actually roll with it. So I've kind of done that, and that was off the advice of Jack Johnson. He was like proper into this character, giving me Mordecai vibes. I was like, that's what I'm going for. There's been about 4 people who have said, "Oh, it kind of has the Mordecai vibe." I was like, I'm doing something right then. And the character work 100%, when you know how you interact with the crowd, what you do in between spots and stuff like that. 'Cause you don't just want to look like you're waiting for the next spot. You want to do the character work, interacting with the crowd and the fans and stuff like that. So that definitely character work is the biggest part of, and promos. Make your promos stand out. Don't just be in your room like cutting a promo. So I tend to go in my. I have like a bit of an eerie attic with that's like a black fireplace. So I've set up shop up there. Got a camera that points and it only catches that bit. So the promos and stuff. So promo and character work 100%.
I've seen your promo work and they definitely do stand out, trust me.
I try. I try. It takes me a good 2-3 hours to edit them afterwards. And I take about 17 takes, but I don't want to release it unless I'm happy with it. And I think I dabble. I don't know if you saw it. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I kind of did a vignette where I found an abandoned church, and I
Mhm.
was like different little clips of the church and stuff. And I did a voiceover. That was different. I've not done that one before, but people have reacted to it in a good way. So I'm probably going to do more of them. I do the Deacon sermons, which is talking about different sins and um, how it infects the wrestling scene. I love being in kayfabe because you're just a complete character. I love it to bits.
Absolutely. So one person we've not talked about is Rossy Rascal, if I've said that right. What's it like obviously being trained by him? Because it's someone I'm not familiar with, I'll be honest with you.
He's the thing is with Rossy, he's not just your coach; he's your friend. Like you need advice, you need someone to talk to, you need someone to confide in. He's all of them things. We've become really like good friends outside the wrestling. I speak to him near enough every day, even though I only train like once a week. And he makes you just feel comfortable and at home. Like the minute I walked into the Rascals Academy, everybody was like straight away, "Oh, you okay?" Shake hands. All added me on Facebook. They were all like, after I did my first bump, you had everyone coming up to you. Well, that was brilliant. That the supportive system is there, and you can see it spawns from Ross's attitude because he's very supportive, very support. He's what a judo black belt champion. Like he has the judo background. He runs the community hub for children. He does children's kids classes holiday camps. He's very orientated towards the community of Blackpool and the children of Blackpool and giving them a safe space. And we're just there for the ride. And we have a joke that we say we're not pro wrestlers, we're rascals. Like we're literally just doing stuff completely different. And we just putting the community and the family feel and the positivity all first before anything else, which I think is important, because if you're not enjoying it, you don't feel positive, then there's no point doing it.
There you go. And that brings me obviously to my next point. For you, what's the most rewarding thing when it comes to wrestling?
Seeing the smiles on my kids' faces whenever I wrestle, even though they're supposed to boo me, but I could just see, like we had a rumble match, not last week, the week before. I was in at number 4, and I think I'd lasted till the last 5, but I was in there with like Martin Kirby, Shaman A, AJ Grimm, Rossy Rascal, and it was every time I looked over at my son, you could see he was excited, and my daughter next to me, I could hear him like through all the noise of the crowd. I could just hear them all the time, even though they're shouting "Deacon sucks" and stuff like that. When I look over, when I look over, I can just see like the excitement and a smile on the face, and that's why I got into wrestling originally. I got into it because I wanted to do it in front of my kids, but then obviously another thing that it is I can look at myself and sit like the teenage version of myself and say, "Hey, Declan, you did it. Like, you finally did it." So it's nice to have that self awareness that like you achieved a dream, but also that I'm making my kids smile and laugh and they're happy. So that's good.
I can tell as you're talking about that how proud you are, watching
Yeah.
them. Do you know what I mean?
No, it's hard to put into words what it means when you make your children smile, like a genuine, like they're looking at you like wow. Like my daughter will come out in school and her friends will be there and she'll go, "My dad's a pro wrestler," and my son's telling teachers at school and they're putting it on the YouTube on like break times, and he'll come out and go, "Oh, I showed my friends your match," and it's just a very nice feeling that they look up to me like that.
Absolutely, man. So I mentioned this question before we came on the air, so I'm going to throw it at you now. For people who's obviously not familiar with Deacon Cross, why should they go check you out?
I'm very different and I'm fully committed to the actual character of Deacon Cross. So you won't catch me on my at my Deacon Cross Facebook and Instagram. I never break character. I'm always that almighty follower who thinks everybody's a sinner. And I think it's unique in that way, because I think these days kayfabe is near enough non-existent. So I think if you're an old school wrestling fan and you love kayfabe, definitely come and check me out.
Absolutely. So we posted obviously on Instagram about you coming on the show. And one of the questions we got, and you mentioned him earlier on, August, could we see you versus August in the future?
Oh, I absolutely adore that. I love that to pieces. And you know what? I'll never say never, because a year ago, if you would have told me that I'm about to face Rossy Rascal for the Blackpool Heritage title in a month's time, I probably would have said no, I'm not. But it's happening. So I 100. To be fair, the last time August came, he was like, "Yeah, we'll get in the ring before the show and we'll have a mess around." So 100%, that is a match that I think we could possibly see.
Okay, okay. Is it hard now being a wrestling fan? Now you're obviously involved in wrestling.
To a certain extent, it is. Um, because obviously when you was a wrestling fan, you was just fully engaged as a fan, and you didn't pick up on like talking to each other in a lockup or stuff like that. It's just not something you really picked up on. As a wrestler who now watches wrestling, I can appreciate really good spots and storytelling. So it is a bit of a strange balance, but I kind of like it more now because I know the story behind it. I know there's a direction for, say, a match that has a long going storyline, and I can appreciate it more. I can appreciate spots. Like if I see a really cool spot that ends in a really big move, I'm like, wow, like that was executed perfectly, and that must have hurt. So I'm kind of. It's completely different worlds being just a wrestling fan and being a pro wrestler who is a wrestling fan.
You made a valid point before we came on the air. You said that obviously AEW you like the wrestlers, but you like the characters from WWE. Do you want to elaborate?
Danhausen, for example. Like, obviously, he's come over from AEW because I just don't think he fit in there because you have some amazing wrestlers in AEW. Fantastic. Will Ospreay's, Kenny Omega's. They're just amazing wrestlers. But then in the WWE, you have characters Kane, Undertaker, Mordecai, Kevin Thorne, Gangrel. Like, even now, Danhausen is a massive hit. It's just so like character driven. I love it. It's what brought me to wrestling in the first place because I was a WCW fan, so I was brought up on like Sting and Vampiro, Disco Inferno doing the dances and stuff like that. So character and entertainment has always been something I've really enjoyed. So that's why I'm called Deacon Cross and I have this massive kayfabe character because that's the part of wrestling I really enjoy.
Okay, so one thing we've obviously not spoke about is obviously the wrestling fan base. How would you describe the UK fan base in your own words?
Very supportive. The fan base is very supportive. Like I don't think I've been on a show yet where they won't cheer or boo. Sometimes you need to get them riled up a little bit, and they might fall off if there's been a big match. I know we did the Rumble, and the crowd was just ridiculously loud, and then the match after that it went off a little bit, but then it picked back up. So I think the UK wrestling fans are really supportive, and it can be very rowdy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. What about social media? Because obviously that's a big part of wrestling now. How would you describe that?
Social media is, I think it's the forefront to anything. Any business, any sports team, any wrestling company, you have to have a social media account, but you have to be promoting it. Like I don't have that many followers. I only started my Deacon Cross account a couple of, I'd say 6 months ago. I've managed to get like 750 followers on there. It's probably my main one. Facebook's a little bit harder to crack, but like posting near enough every day, making sure you're putting pictures out from your matches, promo photos, little videos, vignettes, all stuff. It's very important. The world of wrestling on social media can get a bit dark sometimes. There's been a lot of dark negativity here there. For me though, none of it kind of involves me. So even though I get upset about it and I get angry about it sometimes, I'm not gonna get involved because it's nothing. It's nothing to do with me. I try to stay off that part. Like the drama on the internet isn't for me. It's something I don't really want to get myself involved in. Especially like 2 years ago, before I started wrestling, it would have been a completely different story. But wrestling kind of saved, like I said on the Wrestle Wellbeing podcast, wrestling saved my life. So it's not something I really want to get involved with, that side of it. But the positive side of it, it's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I know exactly what you're referring to, and I can only speak from a fan. And it does frustrate you when you see all these like things, like obviously articles and stuff. I'm not going to go into details, but it does get frustrating. But it's like you said, do you know what I mean, you focus on the positives? That's the way I always deal with it.
My personal opinion is keep it off the internet, purely because fans are seeing it. Like these families with kids who are like, "Oh, I'll follow the social media account." They have no idea of the backstage politics. They have no idea about what's going on, and they're seeing posts and comments, and they're like, "Well, what's that about?" And it's like they're invested in your characters. They're invested in watching wrestling. They're not invested in seeing the backstage politics of it. So I personally, there's things I agree with, the things I don't agree with, but I personally just send a direct message instead.
Probably the best way, right?
Yeah, keep it away from the fans because they just want to have fun.
Absolutely. So, how do you get yourself in the zone before you go out and perform?
Oh, a lot of talking to myself and pacing back and forth. No, it's you get nerves and everything. I get nerves like with having anxiety and stuff like that. I get nerves before I go to work, but I prefer talking. Like so, I'm never quiet. It's probably because I also have ADHD, but and I'm never in the back. I'm always like talking to one person, talk to another person. I'll show them this, like I'll talk about this spot, but I'll constantly go back to the person I'm about to work with. Like every 10 minutes, I'm like, right, we'll run over it again. Right, we'll run over it again, and we'll just literally go through it. I think I wrestled Dave Birch, and he was such a nice person, an amazing person to work with as well. And basically, he did this thing where we did the match, and then he said, "Right, you go away for 5 minutes, run through it, come back, tell it to me, and wherever you forget, I'll pick it up. We'll do it again, and then go away for 5 minutes, come back, do it again." I think we did it like 4 times before I came back, and I was like, "This, this, this, this." He was like, "Right, you've got it." So the way I prepare myself is to be prepared. Like there is some wrestlers out there who have fantastic memory, who will literally run through it once, and they do not need to think about it again because when they go out there, they'll know it. Or there's some wrestlers that just don't plan. They'll plan 1 or 2 spots and then they'll just talk it for the rest of it. I need to know what I'm doing. I need to plan beforehand. So constantly I get myself ready by running through whatever I'm about to do over and over again, pacing back and forth.
Have you ever had it where things don't go to plan? Because obviously that happens.
Yeah, there's times where I think my debut match was I was against Gunnar Morgan. Luckily, it was just at the Rascals Academy because we hold some shows there, and it was my debut match. The first time my kids didn't know I was on this show. I told them I was helping, so I've come out with my old mask. It looks silly now that I look back at it, but I had a mask on. I took it off, and it was me. And my kids was like, "Oh, it's Dad," because they had no idea I was going to be on the show. And literally, we was just about to run the national, and we was doing spot, and he's done a jump and spin, and he's landed wrong on his knee,
Oh,
and he couldn't really get up. So I literally DDT'd him, and I kind of said to the ref, "Check him," but like. I didn't panic in the situation, which people hailed me for because it was my first match, so I could have fell to bits. So I was like, "Ref, check him." I moved and I kind of give the crowd a bit of something. And then I came back and I've picked him up and the rest gone, go to the finish. So I've gone to the finish straight away. And the match lasted 4 minutes instead of 15. But things can go wrong. Things can people can get injured. It's just important what you do in that moment. Like if you break, I think there is certain situations like in the WWE, for example, they'll throw up the X. People will know instantly, right? Someone is hurt. So if there's not that serious of a situation, but you need to finish, you need to be able to keep your composure within the ring. Kind of don't let the crowd know because to them this is real. Like obviously to the kids mostly, like this is real. It's a real match. This superhero is really trying to beat this villain. So if you kind of like shift away from that and panic and freeze, it takes that kind of magic away from the kids. So I think when things go wrong, like it did, staying calm, cool, and collective, and working out a way to do something safely to end it is the perfect way to do it.
absolutely. So how important would you say a referee is then when it comes to a match?
Oh, 100%. The ref, like, I've not got to work with him yet, but there's a referee called Steve. And
Grimshaw?
yeah, Steve, fantastic guy. Like, he's a massive geek just like me. I love I love his podcast as well. He's such a nice guy, but I've seen him, like, because obviously the refs talk to each other. From one in the back, one who's out there, and you can hear Steve and he's directing them, and the amount of talking one ref does to the other and direction within a match because they're watching it, I didn't even realize, like, to positioning, to what to say, like where you're gonna go when they get knocked down, like right, this person's getting back up now. It's like wow, they actually do so much, and I didn't realize that until I got into actual wrestling and saw the behind the scenes. That I realized how important a ref is to a match. If you don't have a good ref, this match could be potentially dangerous because they're there to keep you safe as well and to relay one message from one wrestler to the other wrestler. Like in my instance, wrestler was injured. They've told the ref. Refs slyly said they're injured. Go to the finish. Like I could have just walked over and started stamping on him, like and carrying on, and until he said it to me personally. But the ref kind of passed on the message. I've got a bit of a standing rivalry going on with the ref from the Rascals. He's called Dan, but we're like in like a ref wrestler storyline. So my losses at the minute, I'm kind of blaming on him, and the story will end in fruition where obviously it comes to a point. I'm not going to say it, but it'll come to a point where we get to pay off that storyline. So I'm loving that. How I have like a little storyline with a ref. Refs are really, you need a, I'd say definitely have a trained ref like Dan or Steve as the main person there. And obviously you've got the refs who are coming up. But massively important to a match and for everyone's safety as well.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I see refs saying all the time is they all should be first aid trained as well.
100%. Totally agree.
Absolutely. And it kind of leads back to what we've been talking about throughout the interview. Communication, do you know what I mean?
It's, you know what? I thought it was going to be harder than it is, you know, talking and stuff like that. But you're in so many different situations where you're close to each other that you just talk. And it's something that I've really kind of like grown to. We had like a training show where like the trainees get to have their own show in front of like the friends and family. And like you get about 60 people watching. So it's that feel of a show. And I found myself at one point, I've started frequently speaking and talking. In the Rumble match I was in, I heard Rossy doing it a lot. And it's like, it just shows that through his training, because he tells us, make sure you speak, keep each other safe. If you haven't heard each other, make sure you double check something. Like if someone says something just and you've not heard them, make sure you get into a safe position where you can ask them again and stuff like that. So I've communication with the ref, with each other, even with people backstage, making sure if you're going to do a spot and it's a big spot, let the ref know, because you never know what's going to happen. They could DQ someone because they don't know. The ref is the authority in storyline. The ref is the authority. If you do something silly and you need disqualifying, they'll disqualify you. If you're going to be outside of the ring for longer than 10 seconds, they need to know, because then they can get out the ring and come over to you and like say, right, you two get back in the ring. If they don't know any different, they'll count you out. So communication with the ref, communication with the person you're in there with, communication with your tag team partner if you're in a tag team match, communication with the promoters, because they need to know like somewhat of what you're about to do because it's their show. So I think in wrestling, communication is very important.
Absolutely. So a few little more questions, mate, as well to begin to wind down. Like I
Yep.
said, mate, you've done so much so far. I mean, what's the goal, obviously, for the rest of the year?
Oh, well, the rest of the year, at some point in the next couple of months, I will be having a child. So, well, my wife will be, not me. So there will be like a month or so where I'll be taking, I think it'll be June-ish time. I think I've got like a charity thing in Bolton that I'm doing during June, but that's the only thing I'll be doing, which is where it's at the football ground. It's for a charity. Lofty the Lion's going to be there. He's Bolton Wanderers mascot and stuff. But between that time, I'll probably take off. But I want to get as far as I can and see where I am at the end of 2026. Have as many good matches as I can. I don't just want to pick up any match and just for the sake of getting a booking. Obviously, I want to build on my character. I want to build on my experience, being there with the right people to give me that experience. Hopefully, have a couple more title matches. That'll be fun. I'm on my third title match now, which is cool. I'm going to have one on the 10th of May in Blackpool against Rossy Rascal. I'm actually doing double duty for the first time that weekend, because the night before, on the 9th of May, I am at Warrington Town Wrestling for their debut show in a tournament for their title. So that's another one off the bucket list, ticked off, a double duty weekend. But I just want to get as much experience as possible, get to a point where obviously people, oh yeah, that's Deacon Cross, and get to that stage where I can say, right, am I going to take this now again to the next level? Because obviously I've took it to the next level. I've had bookings in Warrington and in Leeds and stuff like that. But do I want to kind of venture out? Do I want to start building a brand? So I'll probably use the rest of the 2026, keep pushing, keep grinding, keep building me as a brand. And at the end of 2026, if it's going well, I'll take it to the next level in 2027.
Absolutely. So earlier on, obviously mentioned August Artois, the match. What's another dream opponent?
Opponent,
Yep.
Joey Hayes, 100%. I had the pleasure of being in like a 4-on-4 Survivor Series type match, and me and Joey Hayes were the last two survivors. Like, very kind of him. He let me take the win, like get the final pinfall. He's just a wrestling icon. He was probably one of the biggest reasons I got into wrestling, because he was my son's favorite wrestler, like from the indies, the models, him and Danny Hope. And as I've got more into wrestling, I'm learning how much of a legacy this man has. That's why they call him the man. But 100%, Joey Hayes is up probably at the top of my dream opponents right now.
Absolutely. Deacon, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Hopefully you've enjoyed yourself today.
Oh, I've absolutely loved it, mate. Thank you so much. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Absolutely. So I need a couple of things from you. Is there anything else you'd like to plug?
Can catch my Facebook, which is Deacon Cross. Instagram is Deacon_cross.pw. My next two matches will be the 9th of May in Warrington and the 10th of May in Blackpool. But yeah, tickets are on sale now.
If you're watching this, obviously on YouTube, you see a little QR code above your head.
Bam.
If you scan that, that will take you to Deacon's Instagram. You can go and support him and stuff like that.
Thank you very much for that. Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. Everyone go scan that up there.
Absolutely. So I need one final thing from you. So everyone I interview gets to do the outro. So you can say anything you want. You can promote anything you want. We'll end the stream. Deacon, take it away.
Oh, thank you very much, everybody, for coming watching this funny guy today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me on, Liam, on your podcast. If anyone would like any merch, unforgettablevision.com. All my merch is available on there. Please follow the Facebook, the socials. Shout out to my wrestling coach, Rossy Rascal, and the Rascals Wrestling Academy. Thank you all for watching.